Now, in business, it's one thing to make a promise, and it's another thing to deliver on that promise. Now, by the time you're done with this video, you're going to be in a position to understand what contract management is, how contract management works, tips on forming contract management strategies, and contract management best practices. Now, in business, you can spend a lot of money looking for clients only for them to be disappointed by your performance. Imagine a guy who owns a construction company, or pretty much any other company that you can think of. It's only that construction company to make for a good B-roll. So, a guy who owns a construction company, right? So this guy lands a multi-million deal to construct a certain building. Now with such contract, okay, you're not going to be doing everything on your own. With such contract, you're going to be having suppliers, you're going to be supplying stuff, you're going to be dealing with various subcontractors, the point is you're going to be juggling multiple contracts in just that one head contract, okay? So you have tier 1 suppliers who supply the main business directly, okay? So you are the main business, right? So the people supplying you directly, those are tier 1 suppliers. And then you have tier 2 suppliers, okay? Basically the suppliers who are supplying the tier 1 suppliers and so on. The point is, this guy, okay, the guy who just landed that deal to make that particular building, can't just sit back and say, you know what, I got this tender and I'm going to be rich. Now, if he does that, his heaven, okay, in this case, that particular enjoyment he has is going to quickly translate into hell. And if you're thinking, well, that only applies to big contracts, the truth is, contract management applies to any contract that, as long as it's a contract, it needs management. What is contract management? Contract management is the process of creating, implementing, and reviewing contract. And it doesn't matter if the contract is between you and your supplier or the contract is between you and your business partners. The point is, as long as there is a legally binding agreement in place, which is what a contract is, it is in need of management. Okay? So that's the thing you have to understand. Contract management, mandatory as far as contracts are concerned. And the bigger the contract, the complex it gets, because that is something that you can expect with relationships as they grow. The bigger the relationship, the higher the chances that things are not going to go according to plan. Okay? Look, if you hire someone to fix your office internet, that relationship isn't the same as hiring someone to build a house. And look, if you're interested in learning how to manage contractual risks, I've done a bunch of video tutorials, PDF downloads, practice exercises on that, so you can check them out in the description. So at this point, we are aware of what contract management is. That is process of creating, implementing, and reviewing contract. But there is also the practical aspect of it. In short, how does contract management work? And to understand the process, or to understand how contract management works, we first of all need to understand how procurement works. Because think about it. In any contract, you're just being contracted to either deliver some goods or to provide some services. That's pretty much what contracts are, right? Business contracts. These agreements are the sort of agreements that require you to either deliver services or deliver some goods. That's it. Or facilitate the process of doing that. Delivery of goods or provision of services. So that means, just like, in procurement, okay, there's going to be 2 stages involved in contract management. And these are going to be the pre-contract award stages and the post-contract award stages. And usually these ones are properly explained in the CIPS, that is the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, which sums up the entire procurement cycle, okay, which will look something like this. And so the idea here is that to increase the chances of you managing that contract properly, okay, the reason why we're bringing in the procurement stages is that to increase the chances that you're going to be good at managing that contract, then you have to ensure that everything worked perfectly during the pre-contract award stages. Meaning what? Meaning paying attention to all the elements in the procurement cycle taking place before the contract is awarded. And in this case, we're talking about things like understanding the need, okay? What exactly do you want to get done? Because before you even sign anything, you need to know a contract is just an agreement, okay? A legally binding agreement. So what exactly do you want to be done? Okay, what exactly are you agreeing on? And all that starts with understanding the business need. Number 2, what options are in the market, okay? And that is how you end up with the decisions. Do we make this thing internally, or do we buy? Meaning, do we use an outside or an external supplier? So if you're going to use an external supplier, it means you're going to contract with that supplier. And you can't contract with a supplier effectively if you don't even know what you expect from them. That is why need analysis is important. Number 3, develop a strategy or a plan. Number 4, procurement, market test, and engagement. Number 5, developing documentation to be used in tenders. Okay, that is if you're going to go with tenders, because what is happening in a tender? You're basically saying that you have a problem through your expression of interest. You have a problem. Anybody who can solve this problem, submit a bid, and then we pick the best bid and we award that person the contract. So prepare those documents. Okay. There is supplier selection to participate in the tender, because you don't want anybody. I mean, look, I really don't want to bore you with the entire procurement cycle. There's a video on that. It's in the description. Okay, I did a YouTube video on that, so just check it out. Moving on, issue tender documentation, and you have to evaluate the bids. At this point, what are you doing? You're making sure that everything works, okay? Like you have checked all the relevant boxes before you get to the actual awarding of the contract. You know what you want, and therefore you know what you can expect from the supplier. So what should you know at this point? Now, during the pre-contract award stage, okay, you need to know the following. Number 1, what is the purpose of this contract? Will the supplier be in a position to deliver? And how will the contract work after it has been awarded? And so that's it. That's the pre-contractual, okay? But then after you've awarded the contract, you still have other things to deal with, okay? So after awarding the contract, you still need to deal with things like warehouse logistics and receipts, the need for contract improvement, supplier relationship management, as well as asset management. You see, there are things, well, again, I'll just remind you, you're managing a contract here. So you're not just managing some document that says these are the terms and conditions. Not really. You need to look at this thing from what happened before the contract was awarded. Now you've already awarded the contract. What happens after the contract has been awarded? You need to do that. So it's an entire circle, managing contract, okay? So at this point, during the post-contract award, what exactly do you need to know? And some of the things you need to pay attention to here will include: ensure service is delivered with the agreed performance and quality levels. That is actually the reason why you need to have your key performance indicators, the KPIs, okay? These are things that you design before you even award the contract, during the pre-contractual award stage. What are the key performance indicators? What are the specifications? Because these are the things that are going to determine and that are going to help you to know if the supplier is actually doing what they're supposed to be doing in that particular contract. So, the problem is that most people will just sign a contract, and then when there is a problem, that's when they run to look at that document and like, yeah, you aren't supposed to be doing. Not really. That is just laziness, okay? So number 2, maintain and develop a working relationship with your suppliers. Okay, number 3, there is the issue of contract administration. And this will involve looking at the terms of the contract. Okay, so you're managing the contract as per the terms of the contract. And that means understanding roles and responsibilities in the contract, risk management plan, dispute resolution, etc. So if you don't do a good job at this stage, in short, poor performance at this stage will lead to things like warehousing issues, okay, lack of awareness of supplier performance issues, failure to improve on contract, incorrect disposal of asset. Again, at this point, I just want to quickly remind you that there are a number of courses that I've done on contracts. Okay, there is contract law, which is just a standalone course. There is commercial contracting in procurement and supply, all of which you can check out if you're interested. So the point here is that I just want, again, quickly catch up. Managing contract, what have we said? We've said that when you're managing contract, you need to look at your activities in 2 phases, okay? The pre-contractual award activities, from need identification all the way to supplier selection and issuing of that contract. And then there is the post-contract award stage. Again, all the activities, warehousing, improvement, all that stuff, disposal. You need to look at all these things to ensure that they are up to standard. Because again, as I said, a contract is just a legally binding agreement. And the question is exactly what is it that you agreed on? And so whatever you agreed on is not just something that was summed up in that paper, it's something that started before the contract was even developed. And all those things need to be managed. How do you form contract management strategy? Now, when you're putting together your contract management strategy, there are a number of things that you need to factor in. So in this case, you need to ensure that arrangement for service delivery is agreeable by both parties. Business benefits and value for money can be delivered. The supplier is cooperative and responsive. Okay? Because look, sometimes the supplier can make a mistake, probably a minor breach of a contract. And then you ignore that. And that minor breach becomes something that it becomes a repetitive habit. And that can lead to a major breach of contract. So things like those ones are things that you don't want to, you don't want to be the kind of a guy who anytime there's a problem, you're like, we're going to sue you. Not really. Doesn't work long term, okay? Look, these are things that movies lie to you about. Like you watch a movie, you watch series, okay? And then you watch Harvey Specter or Saul Goodman, and they're like distributive, win, lose. They walk in, they talk to this guy, the guy loses, and then you clap. It's only because you're supporting the lead character. Otherwise, in a normal day-to-day business relationship, yes, you have to be tough. But if you're constantly threatening to sue your suppliers, what is going to come out? And nobody's going to be dealing with you, okay? Because people love peace of mind. So the point here is that you need to know how to manage the contract, okay? You just need to know how to handle disputes in that contract. So if there is a minor breach, stop it there. Don't let it escalate, because once it escalates, then it becomes a big thing, and then you may be forced to go to court. And while you may win these ones, it can become a problem in future. Anyway, next, the business understands its obligation under the contract. There are no disputes or surprises. And professional communication over any changes is also important. Some of these things are, we have these professional bodies like the CIPS, okay, the Chartered Institutes of Procurement and Supply, that have a lot of materials that can, and no, they're not sponsoring this video, okay? So, you can always check out their site, read some of those things, even if you're not a student sitting for those exams. The material, some of them are there, so you can read and understand more about these, okay? Right, so let's conclude all these. So to sum it up, here are some of the things to pay attention to so as to increase the chances of success in a contract. Number one, do your research before you get in a contract, okay? You have to remember that the pre-award stage of a contract is just as important as the time you will spend getting the terms of the contract right if you want to minimize risks. Number two, ensure contract managers have the right skill needed. Again, remember, when it comes to managing contracts, you're just not managing the terms of a contract. You're also managing your relationship with those suppliers. So the people who are doing these need to be the sort of people who actually understand how to do that. So it's not just somebody who will overreact every time there's a problem, because yes, the supplier can delay to supply something by a day, and then you think, yeah, it's a good deal to, be harsh. And then the next day, it's you who's failing to pay in time. Why? Because probably one of your major customers has just walked out. And so that puts you in a problem as far as liquidity is concerned. So now, how is the supplier supposed to react to that? I'm not saying being soft. I'm just saying be considerate, okay? When it's something that is worth overreacting, then yeah, you can overreact. If it is something that isn't worth overreacting over, then, understand that. Next, not every issue in a contract requires a reaction, okay? So again, focus on things that really matter. And finally, to avoid missing vital dates on a contract, always remember to set reminders, particularly for evergreen contracts that are automatically renewed. So look, that's the thing, okay? If there is any question, do let me know. And if you want to learn how to, negotiate with your suppliers, you can check out this video. And yep, I'll see you in the next video.